Hi everyone, it's Cheryl, and I am using our new feature called Live Rooms today for the first time in honor of Asian Pacific Heritage Month. I am about to invite three unbelievable small business owners, Michelle, Terry, and Stephanie, to join me. So give me a minute. I'm going to add them in right now. Here we go. Oops, this takes me spelling things correctly. Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
I am adding everyone else. It depends on spelling, which is clearly not something I'm good at today or maybe ever. Here we go. All right. I think, I hope we have everyone. Yes. Okay. So excited. I already introduced you, but I'll introduce you again. I'm so honored to be here with Terry. Wave. Terry runs Fat Straws. It's a boba tea shop in Texas that creates Asian-inspired treats like mochi donuts. You have, show us, Terry, you just showed me before. You got product. I was, oh, delicious. Does that have sprinkles on it?
It's the Fruity Pebbles.
Oh my God, love. Jealous, sad I don't have one. Wish you weren't so far away in Texas. Michelle runs Ranavat, a skincare company based on Indian beauty rituals. Say hi. I don't know if you have any. You have your beautiful skin to show. You've got product.
Great. I have a little hair oil here for you guys.
And look at your beautiful skin.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I think that's very inspiring. And Stephanie sells beauty products rooted in Chinese medicine with her company, Mount Lai.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about all of that. So it's Asian Pacific Heritage Month. We are celebrating the traditions of what is a rich and deep heritage, and I'm super excited about that. I'm going to ask you each a question. Terry, you and your wife must have a good marriage to work with your wife. You opened up one of the first boba tea shops in Texas. What was it like to introduce Fat Straws, your company, to a community that was, I think, not familiar with these Asian-inspired treats, right? I mean, once they saw the donuts, they weren't going to need any familiarity. But what was that introduction like?
Yeah, so, one thing that's great about growing up in an Asian household is that, food was really love, right? That's how my grandmother, I just remember her cooking, and my mom also just spending lots of time in the kitchen, right? And just food was always a huge part of our life and every big life event. And what's great about food is I think it brings people together, and it's a catalyst for building connection. And so when we started Fat Straws, it was just an opportunity to not only build connection with people, but also to really share a part of our culture. And so through these Asian-inspired treats, bubble tea, and these mochi donuts, it was just this really great opportunity to share who we are with Texas. It did require some education on the front end, which was really great, but it was just something we love doing and love getting to share unique experiences with others.
Oh, well, that is wonderful, and it's great to see the products and see how you're thriving. Michelle, I spent a lot of my early career, working in India. We can't talk about India right now without acknowledging the heartache that's happening right now.
Absolutely.
But I think these are also moments to really celebrate culture, and the rituals and the beauty rituals of India go back. I don't want to get it wrong. Thousands of years? 5,000.
Yeah.
Thousands of years. Can you share with us about your product? Like, how are you locally sourcing ingredients? How are you bringing these to a wider audience?
So I think the story is very similar to what Terry and Stephanie are going to talk about. I mean, I'm going to talk about my grandma as well. When we thought about hair oiling, this was a very personal product for me. I have two boys going through a lot of postpartum hair loss, and I just started to turn to, what can I use? What can I turn to that, our ancestors have used? And so amla and some of the ingredients that are in this hair oil really were suggested to me. And so I started to look into it, and I realized that it works. It works because there's not only that history, but the science behind everything, the thousands of years that it's been in practice. But I think what's deeper than just a product that works is really about that connection to who we are. And, I just remember visiting India in those days, and, there's this like communication barrier between myself and my grandmother, but there was this way that we communicated, and it was through these beauty rituals. And I remember she would kind of massage, the oil into my hair. And I just like remember that, the soft fingers kind of touching. And it really was this like, it was almost an I love you, right? And I think those moments that we shared in the beauty space, part of our heritage and our culture, really touched me in a very meaningful way. And so I wanted to share that with a wider group of people, because the product works, but there's also so much more to tell and share that goes beyond just product efficacy. And then just kind of touching upon sourcing ingredients real quick. I know, with everything going on, I think it's more important than ever to really, use the ingredients and source them from where they're made, and to really support the people that have been, working as artisans, farming and crafting these ingredients. They're the ones that their hands have been doing this for generations, and let's keep that going and let's preserve that.
It is, they're deep knowledge that comes to bear. And, hair loss is a really difficult thing for people. Jada Pickett Smith does this unbelievable show on Facebook called Red Table Talk. And she talked about her own, I've not talked about this publicly, but in the spirit of sharing, when I lost my husband very suddenly, and one of the things that I faced was I actually had pretty significant hair loss. I used to get in the shower and like wash my hair, and like I would look at my hands and be like, oh my God, what is happening? And obviously it's not the, that kind of thing pales in comparison to something like losing your husband, but it is actually pretty traumatic. And so having something you could turn to, especially something that's deep in such a deep heritage of such beautiful, beautiful women, I think is remarkable. And I think a lot of people probably need that right now.
No, absolutely. I mean, I appreciate you sharing your story, and I think it runs really deep. It's a very emotional, it sort of represents our femininity, who we are, how we see ourselves in the world. And I've seen this with, dear friends that are cancer patients and people kind of going through that. It's not just as simple to say losing your hair. It means so much more. So I totally feel you on that.
And then going to the depths of a heritage, right? The whole idea behind celebrating Asian Pacific heritage is that people who are of that heritage and aren't of that heritage can learn and embrace and be part of. And so I think in a hard moment like that, sharing something it's very meaningful. That was very meaningful to me. I only wish we had this 6 years ago, even though who knows, I still might need the product in the future. And I'm sure there's many other things you sell.
Well, you have an unlimited supply.
Exactly. Stephanie, we have a grandparent theme today because your business was inspired by your grandmother and her beauty tips. You've shared that she's been using, and I want to pronounce this directly, her gua sha, is that right?
Gua sha.
Gua sha, thank you. I'm terrible at pronunciation. For more than 50 years. What does it feel like to see products like that? The gua sha and jade rollers, which I know you held at the beginning, emerge as really popular beauty tools today.
Yeah, so I have so many thoughts about this, and I really love this question. So I think just to begin, I love, of course, that gua sha tools and jade rollers are becoming more popular in this day and age. At the same time, I think it really boils down to cultural appreciation versus appropriation. So these I guess trends are much more than just a popular trend. A lot of wellness and beauty practices like jade rolling and gua sha are rooted in culture and heritage. And it's so important to celebrate these roots and the rich histories that these practices come from, rather than just treating it like a trend.
I really agree with that. So along with celebrating your heritage, you are entrepreneurs. You are entrepreneurs, you are growing small businesses. We are in a place where our economy needs entrepreneurs. The majority of job growth comes from small businesses, not big. Most people don't know that. But you are the recovery. and you are doing it speaking to your heritage. So I'm going to ask each of you one piece of advice to entrepreneurs that are following in your lead, following where you lead, that want to start a company and use part of their heritage to do it. Terry, I'll go back to you. One piece of advice for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think the first is to be authentic, be true to who you are, and just honor, I think being able to honor our culture. And that's what's so great about America, is being here is like there's this melting pot of all these cultures, but being able to be authentic to that and true to that is really what's at the cornerstone of who we are at Fat Straws.
Michelle?
I would say the same thing. I think, when you think about Instagram as well, I found that the content that performs the best is very casual content with my mom, and we're doing our tea recipes that we've had in our family for years. And what I would say to people out there thinking or hesitating, there's so many times where I thought I was the only one. I thought, oh, I'm the only one where their mom says these things, or we make this special tea. And I've realized as I started sharing it that that's not the case. And so I think it goes both ways. I think it helps me feel a little more grounded in that. And even kind of to Stephanie's point around people really appreciating as well. And then I think it goes back to really just kind of sharing those authentic stories, and they tend to perform the best.
That's great. Stephanie, one piece of advice for fellow entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so I think Terry and Michelle both hit the nail on the head. I would say it really comes down to authenticity and consistency, and just continuing to be honest, be authentic, to share the stories and the heritage, and it's really all about storytelling.
That's great. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you for sharing your heritage and your history through great products. Thank you for building businesses. Thank you for using Instagram. I'm so happy Instagram has been part of your success for all of you. And to everyone out there, happy Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. We hope you're all celebrating these deep and important cultures and the influence they have on all of us. Thank you all for joining me.
Thank you,
so
Cheryl.
much
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, everyone.